Today, we're going to talk about the T-bar row. Is it a helpful lift for powerlifters, and how do you even perform them? Well, with the T-bar row, what's great about this exercise is that it works all these massive pulling muscles. It works your lats, your traps, your rhomboids, your posterior deltoid, your biceps too. I mean, some of those muscles might be more primary or secondary, also known as like synergist muscles, etc. But with the T-bar row, it's a really great lift for powerlifters because it helps you with all those pulling muscles to help build not just a vicious deadlift, but also those pulling muscles can help assist counterbalance your pressing motion and can give you more back muscles to help stabilize your squat. So first thing we need to do is talk about how do you perform a T-bar row. Now, in this video, what's unique about my T-bar row setup is that, as you can tell, the barbell is laying on the floor, but on one end, I got the green bumper on there as my load, but then I have this yellow bumper on the floor. And what's cool enough about it is that little indentation inside the yellow plate. That's how I create my setup, like a landmine setup, so that I can perform the T-bar row. Now from there, I'm using the rope attachment. Usually people will use that triangle bar, the neutral grip bar, and they'll slide it underneath the barbell and start performing the rows. But I use the rope because it was more convenient. The triangle bar was being used, and it still allowed me to use a narrow grip on the bar and to perform the movement. Now, when you perform the T-bar row, and you can see it right here in this video with me, the biggest thing is with any push or any pull, you want to make sure that you're creating perpendicular relationships within the body. So if I was to do a pull and I pull this way, you see how my forearms are pulling right against my body, and this makes a flat line. My body makes a vertical line, and it creates that cross, that 90-degree angle. That's what we're striving for with the T-bar row. So when you look at it and I pull that weight, my forearms go right across my body, making a 90-degree angle. And now I know force and gravity and everything else is in position to help me recruit these muscles very effectively. Because if you watch me right now, some of the problems people will do is that they pull, their touch point might be a little too high. And you see how my forearm creates this downward angle and my body makes this vertical angle. It's not a 90-degree angle, and I might be recruiting more of my bicep in that situation, which isn't really ideal with the T-bar row. But besides all of that, when it comes down to the mechanics and the footage and the form and all those things included, what muscles am I using when it comes to that free weighted version of my T-bar row? Well, because my hands are a little bit more narrow, some people argue you're going to recruit a little bit more of the trapezius muscles. Remember, with your traps, you have 3 different fibers, the lower, the mid to upper. Some people might think you get a little bit more lat dominance when you use that narrow grip like I have with the ropes in that free weight T-bar row. But all in all, what I'm really recruiting is traps, lats, posterior deltoid. I'm hitting all the muscles that I need to hit to have a big deadlift and a big bench and a big squat as well. But if I was to argue a little bit more about the T-bar row, I would say it's a really great lift to help powerlifters improve their deadlift. That's where it transfers the most, at least to me, and how I perceive the T-bar row. So if you go back to the video of me doing the T-bar row, I'm in a bent over position, which I would be in with my deadlift. So that's replicating the motion. And when I pull my arms back, that's also replicating my lockout position, which is relevant for powerlifters and developing their deadlift too. And interestingly enough, with that free weighted T-bar row setup that I showed you in that video, you can allow your hips to drop down, come up, drop down, come up. So it almost looks like you're employing leg drive to maybe recruit a little bit of your glutes, hamstrings, and quadriceps as well. So ultimately, that T-bar row variation with the free weights, the landmine setup, it's great because it recruits your traps, your posterior deltoid, and because it's a free weight and you have to brace your core, it is also hitting your erectors, your low back muscles, a little bit of the glutes, and your abdominal muscles as well. If you put it all on paper, It's just a recipe for a very big metabolic end result on how many muscle groups you're using. And that's a great thing about some of the compound movements. The more muscles you use, the more metabolically exhausted you are, which is a return on investment when it comes to weightlifting. We want a lot of muscles to be used so that they can grow, get bigger. There's a bigger anabolic response when you use a bunch of muscle groups at the same time. So the TBarRow is great for that too. Now, there's another video I'm going to show you guys. And in this video, it is a chest supported TBarRow. Now, on this one, you're going to notice that my hands are wider. Now, some people will argue maybe that gets a little bit more lat dominance or trap dominance, kind of like before, one versus another. I believe that since it's wider, it's probably going to get a little bit more lat dominance. But think about my hands and how the bar is set up. Because the grip is wider, it's almost influencing my elbows to move outward a little bit more. So maybe my shoulder joint is just working a little bit tougher versus that narrow T-bar you saw earlier with the landmine setup. Because my elbows are wider, that's going to hit a little bit more of my posterior deltoid, which could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. It just depends on how you want to perceive it. When I look at the grip of the T-bar chest supported and my hands are a little wider, it almost replicates like the grip I'd have on the bar when I deadlift too. So there's also some transfer in that as well. But I feel like when it comes to hand placement and my elbows getting wider, in that situation, you are recruiting a little bit more posterior deltoid than you would be with that free weight landmine setup that I showed you earlier, where you have to brace your core. That one I think is going to be more traps, developing a little bit of a thicker back because my elbows stay tight to my body and I'm not pulling my elbows outward and putting a lot of strain on my shoulder joint. So that could also be an argument too. Do you have weaker shoulders? Do you need to increase your shoulder strength? My big thing is, mix it up. Maybe do a little bit more on the landmine and then do higher reps on the chest supported or vice versa. But another thing to think about too is, where are you in your program? So if you're a powerlifter who's doing a ton of deadlifts, it might be hard to do a free weighted core braced TBarRow like you saw earlier with my landmine setup, where I had that little yellow plate on the floor. It might be hard to do that because your low back's already shot from such a crazy workout. Maybe it's better to do the chest supported version just to give yourself a break. You don't have to coordinate your core and you're just moving your elbows and shoulders. So that's another argument too. But end of the day, when it comes down to the T-bar, that is a great and exciting version of pulling that's going to definitely recruit your traps, your lats, your posterior deltoids, your biceps as well. The traps and lats are the primary movers. The posterior deltoid and the biceps are going to be like secondary synergistic muscles. Depending on your grip, depending on placement, you might be working more of your glutes. If you're chest supported, it's going to be more of the traps, the lats, and the posterior deltoid. Grip can influence elbow position. That might put more strain on your shoulder joint. It might not. But regardless, this is a great exercise for a powerlifter because it's going to transfer to your deadlift. It's going to teach you how to pull weight to your lap. And at the same time, too, it's going to challenge those pulling muscles that are going to counterbalance your bench press. Because if you bench press and you have a weak back, you don't have strong opposing forces. They're going to meet the demands of Isaac Newton's laws of motion. And if you don't have a lot of those back muscles, you might lack the posture you need to have a good, strong, and upright squat as well. So if you're a powerlifter and need the support for a stronger back, you need to do the TBarRow.